Well, howdy friends, Brian Flechsig of Mad River Outfitters in the Midwest Fly Fishing Schools, and I'm here to talk with you today a little bit about fiberglass fly rods, and this one in particular. You know, the Echo B.A.G, which stands for badass glass. Truly amazing fly rods, and I now own several myself, and especially for those of us that like, here in the Midwest, that like to fish for bass and some bigger game, and then even saltwater. This rod is headed, this is an 8-weight, this and the 10-weight are headed to New Orleans with me in a few weeks, so stay tuned, we'll update you. So Tim Rajeff of Echo has kind of recognized that fiberglass has been making a serious comeback. I've been fishing a lot of fiberglass rods, mostly for trout, but since I've been using these, I've been fishing them for bass, for smallmouth. Anyway, Tim recognized the need, and that some of us really might enjoy fiberglass rods for some bigger flies, some bigger game. And so, you know, traditionally a fiberglass rod is fairly slow action, fairly slow, fairly whippy. They're more known in the 2-weight, 3-weight, 4-weight category. In fact, Echo makes a rod called the Fiberglass, and it is a very limber rod, there's no question. Super fun, but very limber. I mean, Redington has their butter sticks, Orvis makes the super fine glass, Scott has their F series. They're all fairly slow. Well, what Tim did was he took fiberglass, and I don't know exactly what he did, but man, it's true to its name. He made a badass fiberglass rod. No question. I mean, these things are powerful. They're for glass. They're fairly fast action. I have no problems throwing larger bass bugs, poppers, even some saltwater flies, my plantation crab. I have caught redfish on the 10-weight. I can't wait to take the 8-weight. So anyway, we were recently down in Florida with Tim Rajeff and Flip Pallot. And man, let me tell you, when we put this rod in Flip Pallot's hands, he would not let it go. He would not put it down. It's all he could talk about. He couldn't stop casting it. And then I think he took this rod up to Wisconsin, and he was fishing up with Tim Landwehr of Tight Lines Fly Fishing, and catching smallmouth on this rod, and he's just not stopped talking about it ever since. So let's jump on down. We had a chance, we filmed a little bit with Flip talking about the Echo B.A.G. So Flip, the Echo B.A.G, which stands for badass glass.
Badass glass.
You've become a big fan of this rod.
Well, you know, it's I've got a lot of history with glass.
Mm-hmm.
When my pals and I started fly fishing in salt water, there was no glass. It was bamboo cane, and there were only very few bamboo rods that would hold up to saltwater fishing.
Mm-hmm.
And Orvis made most of them. They were impregnated. The cane was impregnated with fiberglass resin,
Mm-hmm.
and the rod weighed like a railroad iron. But it was all that was available, and what we fished mostly would have been the equivalent of a 9-weight now. We fished those for redfish and snook and trout and bluefish and snapper and everything. We fished the same rod. It was an Orvis Shooting Star, and it had 2 foul-proof strippers. It was a beautiful rod,
Mm-hmm.
but it was cane. I mean, it was, you would catch a big tarpon and it would take a set, and a big tarpon for us then was 50 pounds, 60
Mm-hmm.
pounds. And then glass came along, and when glass came on the scene, it was like space travel. It was. I mean, we picked up glass and it was just amazing. And there was a man in Coral Gables named J. Lee Cuddy, and he had a shop where he sold glass blanks and cork rings and guides and reel seats. And my buddies and I started making our own rods out of glass. And we'd make a rod in the morning and fish it in the afternoon. I mean, and we didn't like it. We'd cut all the guides off and, shorten the butt, cut some off the tip, make it stiffer. I mean, it was pretty amazing. And all those rods were one piece. I mean, there were basically no ferruled rods. The rods that were ferruled, they were still using the German silver ferrules that were used on the cane rods.
Right.
So there's this huge stiff spot in the middle of the rod. They still cast. I mean, it was amazing. But when glass came, that was a revelation.
Everything changed.
So I grew up, really. Glass was the material that we loved to fish. And it was indestructible. I mean, breaking a glass rod never happened. I mean, they would bend and bend and bend and then bend some more. I mean, they were really, really tough. So we developed different techniques of casting because the glass rods were so much faster and higher modulus than the cane rods. And I mean, we thought, I guess at one point, that nothing would ever surpass glass. And then up came carbon fiber, of course, which was light years better than glass in terms of modulus and weight. It was much lighter, much stiffer, much faster in the tip. So faster tip, faster line speed. Everything was magnified when graphite and boron came along. So glass made as fast a disappearance from saltwater fly fishing as canes did. So everybody had to have graphite. And so I didn't see glass for a long time. Every once in a while, somebody would pull out an old glass rod and we'd go outside and cast it. It was so pleasant and slow and deliberate. But it was still heavy and everything.
Well, howdy friends, and sorry to interrupt, but just wanted to remind you that this video today is sponsored by nobody. Here at Mad River Outfitters, everything's organic. We have no sponsors that are paying us to show you their products, so we depend on y'all for support. So you might think about hopping over to madriveroutfitters.com where you can find these new for fall of 2024 waffle crews. Man, these things are like the old Long Johns to me. Really, really cool, really soft. This one features the original 1994 Mad River Outfitters logo, and then we've got the brown trout badge logo. Yeah, I know. So think about it. Hop on over to madriveroutfitters.com. Every little bit helps. We appreciate your support. Now let's get back to the video.
And then Tim Rajeff sent me one of these badass glass rods, which are super light, very, very high modulus compared to the old glass rods that we had. So they're very stiff compared to them, super light. And oh boy, I picked this up and I cast with this and it takes me back to my youngerhood and all the memories that these glass rods provided, except these are better performers than those were. So I had the opportunity a few weeks ago to take a 7-weight badass glass up to Wisconsin and fish it for smallmouth bass. I fished 5 days straight. And it's up, as you know, I mean, it's casting from the time you hit the water till the time you drag your ass off at dark.
Yeah.
It's casting, casting, casting. These things are so much fun to cast. They're not as high performers, but if you slow your mindset down to the speed of glass, it's a great experience. And I find that if I cast for an hour or a day with glass and then pick up graphite, I'd feel like a wizard. But these things are fun. I'm never going anywhere without having one of these things.
You know, I have, first of all, I'd say kudos to Tim Rajeff and the folks at Echo. I mean, glass has made certainly a resurgence over the past even 10 or 15 years, and we're selling more and more. Scott has some good ones. Orvis has some good ones, but they're all trout rods. They're all 7 foot, 6.5 foot, and they didn't. You know, I like to fish for bass and for warm water and salt water. I don't do a lot of trout fishing. I do trout fish, and when I go out to Montana, I've got kind of this spot way up in the mountains. It's this tiny little creek I've told you about, and I'm catching 18 to 23 inch cutthroat grayling brook trout, and I take a 7 foot 4-weight glass with a click and pawl reel, and I throw nothing but foam flies on the surface. It's just a tradition. I've been doing it for I don't know how many years now. But there was just nothing that I could bring to Florida or to Louisiana until Tim and the folks at Echo came out with this badass glass, and it is truly that.
Don't you love the color and the translucence?
Oh, it's as our good buddy John Tarr says, it looks like we're fishing with a lightsaber.
Yeah, when the light comes through in the daylight,
they're beautiful. They're powerful. They're very, very nice. They're very fast for today's glass rods that are out there on the market. There's really nothing else like them. So I've been fishing in Louisiana with this. I've taken 8 and a 10 on the boat. I've got myself a click and pawl reel, which you turned me on to, and we still have people that say, "Oh, you can't fish click and pawl reels in saltwater." Well, just stay tuned
I wish they'd have told me that 70 years
ago. we're about to turn that world upside down here coming up shortly. So I love them, and for the short casts that we make red fishing, I mean, a lot of my casts in Louisiana are 10, 12 foot. This is the perfect tool for that.
Oh, yeah. And they start up so fast. Yeah, they're great.
Yeah.
I urge everyone to give them a try.
Well, and the good news is now they start in a 5-weight.
Yeah.
They didn't, for a couple of years, they didn't make the 5-weight, and now they're offering a 5-weight version of this, which is just perfect for smallmouth and largemouth fishing in the Midwest.
What I'm trying to get them to do is make that 5-weight with a real small, delicate, full wells grip in a 5-weight.
Yeah.
So that we can take it to the Bahamas and fish for bonefish. And I don't see anything wrong with that grip for trout fishing myself.
Absolutely not. Well, you know what? I think Tim Rajeff is close by as we speak, so let's go find him.
Here we go.
So there you have it, friends. I mean, like I told you, I mean, Flip was really gaga over this rod. And, you know, in fact, he just sent me a picture yesterday. This is October 2024, and this was 2 days before Hurricane Milton, I think it was, blew through his backyard. And even during hunting season, he got out on the St. Johns River throwing this rod and catching largemouth bass. So I think we've created a monster. So anyhow, we're going to be talking more about this. We had a chance to talk with Tim Rajeff quite a bit about the badass glass, and then I'll also get you some updates from my upcoming redfish trip. We're also headed to the Bahamas before the holiday season here starts here in 2024. So stay tuned for more on the Echo Badass Glass, and as always, you can check them out at madriveroutfitters.com. We, of course, appreciate your support and, quite frankly, depend on it. And if you ever have any questions whatsoever on this rod or any product that we sell, you pick up the phone and you give us a call or shoot us an email. Customer service is what we do for a living. Fly fishing is what we love and what we sell. So as always, friends, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That really helps us out. And hit the like button. That just makes us feel good. So thanks as always for watching, and hop on over to madriveroutfitters.com.